The Zentari research vessel, Eternal Seeker, dropped out of quantum space above Earth's orbit, its crystalline hull refracting sunlight in impossible patterns. Chief researcher Vera Sarn stood at the observation deck, her bioluminescent patterns pulsing with curiosity as she studied the blue planet below. Something about this world defied their most sophisticated models of civilizational development. Preliminary analysis complete, Chief, announced her second-in-command, Krevlor, his neural tendrils twisting in confusion. The contradictions are significant. Vera Sarn's inner eyelids flickered as she processed the data. Humanity had progressed from basic industrial technology to quantum field manipulation in less than 3 centuries. According to all known models of species development, such advancement should have taken at least 2 millennia. There's more, Krevlor continued. Their genetic structure shows signs of engineered optimization, yet they have no record of such modifications. Their languages contain mathematical patterns that suggest they were designed for optimal information transfer. Even their cities. He paused, mandibles clicking in agitation. The oldest human settlements show evidence of advanced geometric principles that their ancestors couldn't possibly have known. Earth's defense systems had already detected their presence. Rather than panic or aggression, the humans responded with a carefully coordinated series of greeting protocols that seemed far too sophisticated for a supposedly young species. "Open a channel," Vera Sarn commanded. The ship's consciousness complied instantly. A human face appeared on the quantum display. Admiral Sarah Chen of the United Earth Defense Force. Her expression was calm, almost knowing. "Welcome to Earth, visitors. We've been expecting someone to notice us eventually." Vera Sarn felt her chromatophores pulse with surprise. "You anticipated our arrival." "Let's say we had a strong suspicion that we weren't alone," Chen replied with a slight smile. "Our mathematical models suggested a high probability of advanced civilizations detecting our quantum signature once we activated the Morrison drive last year." The casual mention of such complex calculations only deepened Vera Sarn's suspicions. She initiated a deep scan of Earth's surrounding space, revealing layers of defensive systems elegant in their simplicity yet devastating in their potential effectiveness. The humans had somehow created a perfect balance of technology and efficiency that took other species countless generations to achieve. "We propose a diplomatic meeting," Chen continued. "Our facilities in the neutral zone of Antarctica are equipped to accommodate various biological needs." As the Zentari delegation prepared for their first physical meeting with humans, Vera Sarn reviewed historical data from Earth's information networks. She found curious gaps in their archaeological records, unexplained technological leaps, and ancient myths that spoke of powers beyond current human capabilities. The landing site was a marvel of engineering, a sprawling complex of transparent domes that seemed to emerge organically from the ice. As Vera Sarn's team disembarked, their environmental sensors detected something else. Subtle energy signatures that their most advanced equipment could barely register. Admiral Chen greeted them personally, accompanied by a diverse group of human representatives. "I suspect you have questions," she said, leading them through security fields that the Zentari's technology couldn't fully analyze. "About how we've progressed so quickly, about the anomalies in our development." "Your species is an impossible equation," Vera Sarn admitted. "You build technology that should be beyond your understanding. You possess genetic markers that suggest deliberate design. Yet you claim to be a naturally evolved species with no outside intervention." Chen's smile held secrets. "Perhaps we should discuss this in the lower chambers. There's something we've recently uncovered that might help explain these impossibilities." As they descended into the facility's depths, Vera Sarn's sensors detected increasing amounts of unknown energy signatures. The walls themselves seemed to pulse with contained power. In a chamber marked Origin Archives, Chen stopped before a massive door covered in patterns that made Vera Sarn's scientific instruments malfunction. "We've been gradually decoding this chamber's contents," Chen explained. "What we've found suggests that everything you think you know about humanity's history might be wrong. We're not as young as we appear, chief researcher. We're not new to the stars at all. The door began to open, revealing a truth that would reshape the Centauri's understanding of not just humanity, but of their own place in the cosmic order. The Origin Archives chamber bathed its visitors in a soft, blue-white light that seemed to emanate from nowhere and everywhere at once. Vera Sarn's scientific instruments continued to struggle, reading impossible energy signatures that defied known physics. Before them stood a towering holographic display, showing star charts that spanned thousands of light years. 3 months ago, we discovered this facility wasn't just built under the ice, Admiral Chen explained, her voice echoing in the vast chamber. It was here before the ice, before recorded human history, before what we thought was the dawn of civilization. The holographic display shifted, showing structures on distant worlds that made Vera Sarn's inner eyelids flutter rapidly. She recognized several of them, mysterious ruins that the Centauri had discovered on their own explorations, their origins unknown and their purpose unclear. "You've seen these before, haven't you?" Chen asked, noting the Centauri's reaction. "We call them waypoints. They exist on at least 50 worlds that we've managed to identify so far. And they all bear the same quantum signature as this facility." Krevlor moved closer to one of the walls, his neural tendrils extending to sense the energy patterns. "These patterns, they're similar to your genetic markers. But that would mean that humanity didn't evolve naturally on Earth." Chen finished. "We're beginning to understand that our history is far more complex than we imagined. The human genome contains sequences that act like encrypted data packets. They've always been there, dormant, waiting for a key." The chamber's displays shifted again, showing detailed molecular structures. Vera Sarn recognized them as the supposedly junk DNA sequences that had puzzled her team during their initial scans of human biology. But now she saw them for what they truly were: quantum storage systems encoded into the very fabric of human life. "We thought these sequences were evolutionary holdovers," one of the human scientists, Dr. Maya Patel, explained as she joined them. "But they're actually more like backup drives, containing information our ancestors wanted to preserve. The question is, preserve from what?" Vera Sarn watched as Dr. Patel activated another section of the chamber. The walls seemed to ripple, and new holographic displays emerged, showing mathematical equations that made even the Centauri's advanced minds struggle to comprehend. These equations describe space-time manipulation at a level we're only beginning to grasp, Dr. Patel continued. "But here's the fascinating part. We're finding that humans can understand these concepts far more quickly than we should be able to. It's as if we have some inherent familiarity with them, like remembering something long forgotten rather than learning something new." Admiral Chen led them deeper into the facility, where teams of human researchers worked alongside autonomous quantum computers. "Every discovery leads to more questions," she said. "We've found references to something called the Great Separation, an event that apparently led to humanity's technological regression and isolation on Earth." "But why?" Krevlor asked, his curiosity overwhelming his usual reserve. "Why would an advanced civilization choose to start over as primitives?" "We believe it was deliberate," Chen replied, stopping before a sealed door marked with symbols that seemed to shift and change as they watched. "Something happened out there among the stars. Something that made our ancestors decide that the only way forward was to go back to the beginning. They encrypted their knowledge into our very beings and scattered clues across the galaxy." Vera Sarn's chromatophores pulsed with realization. "The waypoints. They're not just ruins. They're pieces of a puzzle." "Exactly," Dr. Patel confirmed. "And now that we've reactivated the first one here on Earth, others are beginning to respond. We're detecting energy signatures from dozens of worlds, some in galaxies we haven't even reached yet." The sealed door before them began to hum with energy. Admiral Chen placed her hand on a seemingly blank section of wall, and lines of light spread from her touch, forming intricate patterns. This chamber contains what we believe to be a star map of all waypoint locations, but it requires specific genetic markers to access, markers that, until recently, were dormant in human DNA. As the door slowly opened, Vera Sarn felt something she hadn't experienced in all her centuries of scientific exploration, a sense that she was standing at the threshold of a mystery far greater than she had imagined. The humans hadn't just discovered their past. They had begun to unlock a legacy that spanned galaxies. The chamber beyond held secrets that would forever change both humanity's understanding of itself and the Zentauri's view of their place in the cosmic order. As they stepped through the doorway, none of them could have predicted how their discoveries would soon ripple across the stars, awakening forces that had slumbered for millennia. The inner chamber of the Antarctic facility pulsed with an energy that made the air itself feel alive. On the central platform, surrounded by cascading holograms of genetic sequences, Dr. Maya Patel worked feverishly at a console that seemed to respond to her thoughts as much as her touch. Around her, both human and Zentauri scientists watched in fascination as dormant sections of human DNA began to activate across the globe. "It's like a cascade effect," she explained, her eyes reflecting the shimmer of data streams. "The genetic keys we discovered here aren't just unlocking information. They're awakening abilities that have been sleeping in our genes for millennia." Reports flooded in from every continent. People were experiencing strange memories that couldn't be their own, visions of alien worlds, advanced technologies, and a civilization that spanned the stars. But more than memories were awakening. Another incident in Singapore, Admiral Chen announced, reading from a quantum-linked display. A 12-year-old girl accidentally activated a quantum field while dreaming. And in Cairo, a university professor suddenly understood mathematical principles that our most advanced AIs are still trying to decode. Vera Sarn's chromatophores flickered with intense interest as she analyzed the data. These aren't random mutations or sudden evolutionary leaps. These abilities were engineered into your species, designed to activate under specific conditions. The question is, what were your ancestors preparing for? The answer began to reveal itself in the most unexpected way. Deep beneath the Pacific Ocean, at the junction of several tectonic plates, something ancient stirred to life. The facility's sensors detected it first, a massive energy signature that dwarfed anything they had recorded before. "It's some kind of transmission," Krevlor reported, his neural tendrils writhing with excitement. "The signal pattern matches the quantum signatures we found in the waypoints, but the scale is unprecedented." The message that emerged was not in any known language, yet every human in the facility found they could understand it perfectly. It spoke of a time when humanity had achieved mastery over matter and energy, when they had seeded distant galaxies and built wonders that defied imagination. But it also spoke of a choice, a deliberate decision to step back from that precipice of power. They weren't running away from something, Admiral Chen whispered, the realization dawning in her eyes. They were protecting something. Protecting us. Their future selves. The holographic displays shifted, showing a massive structure rising from the ocean floor, a facility that dwarfed the Antarctic base. As its systems reactivated, more dormant genes across the human population began to wake. People found themselves working with technology they had never seen before, yet somehow understood intimately. The genetic archives weren't just storing information, Dr. Patel explained, her hands moving swiftly over the console. They were preserving an entire civilization's worth of knowledge and capability, waiting for humanity to mature enough to handle it responsibly. The awakening protocol isn't just activating memories, it's testing us, ensuring we're ready for each new level of understanding. Vera Sarn watched as humans around the world began to instinctively access technologies that even the Zentauri had never mastered. "Your ancestors didn't just hide their legacy," she observed. "They engineered an entire species-wide metamorphosis, timed to unfold at precisely the right moment." The Pacific facility, now fully activated, revealed itself to be a hub of sorts, a central node in a vast network of similar installations hidden throughout the galaxy. Each one contained different aspects of humanity's ancient knowledge, waiting to be rediscovered. But with every new awakening came new challenges. Not everyone could handle the sudden flood of ancestral memories and abilities. Some struggled to differentiate between past and present lives. Others found themselves overwhelmed by the responsibility of their newfound powers. "We need to proceed carefully," Admiral Chen insisted, watching as another group of humans spontaneously accessed abilities their ancestors had possessed. "Our ancestors must have had a reason for making this a gradual process. We can't rush it." Dr. Patel nodded in agreement, but her attention was drawn to something else, a countdown that had appeared in the facility's core systems. "I don't think we have a choice in the timing anymore," she said, her voice tense. "According to this, we have exactly 72 hours before the next phase begins. And whatever's coming, our ancestors thought it was important enough to encode it into the very foundation of our species." The Zentari scientists exchanged worried glances. They had come to study what they thought was a young civilization, only to find themselves witness to the rebirth of one of the most advanced species the galaxy had ever known. As the countdown continued its relentless progression, one question burned in everyone's minds: what awaited humanity when it reached zero? As the countdown approached its final 24 hours, the Pacific Facility's central chamber activated, revealing the vast holographic archive that filled the underwater dome with dancing lights. Dr. Patel and Admiral Chen stood alongside their Zentari guests, watching as humanity's true history unfolded before them. The images showed a civilization that had mastered the fundamental forces of the universe. Ancient humanity had built Dyson spheres around stars, engineered planets, and created technologies that bordered on the miraculous. But with each achievement came a price, one that their ancestors had deemed too high to pay. "We thought we were gods," a recorded message echoed through the chamber, its speaker a woman wearing clothing that seemed to be made of living light. "We reshaped worlds at will, moved stars for convenience, and bent the laws of physics to our whims. But we failed to see the damage we were doing to the fabric of space-time itself." The hologram shifted, showing tears in reality, rifts in space-time that threatened to unravel the very structure of the universe. The ancient humans had discovered that their mastery over quantum mechanics and their manipulation of fundamental forces had begun to destabilize the cosmic framework itself. They didn't just choose to start over, Vera Sarn whispered, her chromatophores pulsing with understanding. They had to. The universe itself was at stake. The recording continued, revealing how the ancient humans had made their momentous decision. Rather than risk the collapse of reality itself, they would take a step back. They would encode their knowledge and capabilities into their own DNA, design a careful awakening sequence, and restart their civilization from scratch. "But why Earth?" Krevlor asked, his neural tendrils twisting in confusion. "Why choose this particular world?" The answer appeared in the form of complex gravitational maps. Earth sat at a crucial junction of cosmic strings, invisible threads of energy that formed the universe's underlying structure. From this position, a sufficiently advanced civilization could monitor and potentially repair the damage done to spacetime. We weren't just hiding from our past, Admiral Chen realized, watching as more data streamed across the holographic displays. We were positioning ourselves to fix it. Earth isn't just our cradle. It's a repair station for the universe itself. Dr. Patel's hands flew over the control surfaces as she integrated the new information. The awakening protocol isn't just about reclaiming our technology. It's about learning to use it responsibly this time. Each stage of awakening is tied to specific ethical and philosophical developments in our species. The facility's systems revealed the true purpose of the waypoints scattered across the galaxy. They weren't just markers or repositories of knowledge. They were nodes in a vast repair network, designed to gradually heal the tears in spacetime that the ancient humans had caused. "Your ancestors built a failsafe into the very evolution of your species," Vera Sarn observed. "Each generation of humans since the reset has been subtly guided toward a more balanced understanding of power and responsibility." The countdown continued its inexorable progress as more revelations emerged. The ancient humans hadn't just been advanced. They had been the primary guardians of the galaxy, taking responsibility for maintaining the delicate balance of cosmic forces. Their decision to step back hadn't been an admission of defeat, but rather the first step in a grand plan spanning millennia. "Look at this," Dr. Patel called out, pointing to a new set of data streams. "The genetic memories aren't just teaching us about our past. They're showing us how to avoid the same mistakes. Each awakened ability comes with an inherited understanding of its consequences." But as the final hours of the countdown approached, something unexpected began to happen. The waypoints across the galaxy started activating in sequence, sending pulses of energy through the cosmic strings. The universe itself seemed to be responding to humanity's reawakening. Admiral Chen received urgent reports from Earth's quantum sensors. "The tears in spacetime, they're getting worse. Whatever our ancestors were preparing us for, it's happening now. We're not just reclaiming our legacy. We're being called back to our role as guardians." The facility's systems began to pulse with increasing urgency. Humanity's long-dormant abilities were awakening faster now, but with them came an overwhelming sense of responsibility. They weren't just rediscovering who they had been. They were becoming who they needed to be. As the countdown entered its final hour, Dr. Patel made a startling discovery in the ancient data. "This isn't just about us," she announced, her voice filled with awe. "The Zentari, the other species we've encountered, they're all part of the plan too. Our ancestors knew that when we awakened, we'd need allies who understood the true scope of our responsibility. The future of not just humanity, but the entire universe, hung in the balance." As the countdown neared its end, whatever came next would require everything humanity had learned, both in their ancient past and their recent history. The question was, would it be enough? The countdown reached zero as the Pacific facility thrummed with energy that resonated through the cosmic strings themselves. In orbit, astronauts reported seeing luminous threads of energy crisscrossing the planet, connecting Earth to distant points across the galaxy. Humanity's moment of truth had arrived. "Multiple rifts detected," Dr. Patil announced, her fingers dancing across holographic displays. "The tears in spacetime are expanding exponentially. The damage our ancestors feared, it's accelerating." The Zentari ships in orbit registered disturbances that defied their most advanced sensors. Vera Sarn's chromatophores pulsed with urgent patterns as she analyzed the data. The rifts are appearing in a geometric progression. At this rate, they'll begin affecting populated systems within days. Admiral Chen stood at the facility's central platform, where a three-dimensional map showed the spreading chaos. Thousands of years ago, humanity had nearly broken the universe in their quest for power. Now, they were its last hope for survival. "Initiate the restoration protocol," Chen commanded. Around the globe, humans whose genetic memories had awakened began to act with inherited knowledge. They weren't just remembering their ancestors' achievements, they were improving upon them. The waypoints activated in perfect synchronization, creating a network of stabilizing fields. But it wasn't enough. The rifts continued to grow, threatening to tear reality apart at its seams. "We need more power," Dr. Patil said, her eyes fixed on the calculations streaming past. "The network can't generate enough energy to seal the rifts." That's when Vera Sarn made an unexpected discovery. Your ancestors, they didn't just leave instructions for humanity. Look at these patterns in the Waypoint network. They're designed to integrate with other species' technologies. Understanding dawned across Admiral Chen's face. They knew we couldn't do this alone. That's why they waited until we had made contact with other civilizations. This isn't just humanity's test. It's a test for all spacefaring species. Across the galaxy, other civilizations began detecting the disturbances. The Zentari fleet, already in Earth orbit, was the first to offer their help. Their crystalline ships interfaced with the Waypoint network, adding their unique quantum technologies to the effort. Dr. Patil worked frantically with both human and alien scientists, combining their different approaches to physics and energy manipulation. We're not just repairing the damage, she realized. We're implementing a completely new way of managing cosmic forces, one that requires cooperation between species. The facility's archives revealed the final piece of humanity's legacy. Their ancestors hadn't just hidden their knowledge, they had used their time to perfect it. Each generation of humans had unconsciously contributed to solving the problems that had forced the ancient civilization to reset. Look at these equations, Vera Sarn called out, her neural tendrils writhing with excitement. Your scientific achievements, your art, your music, they're all variations on quantum harmonics. You've been unconsciously working out the solutions through your culture. As understanding spread, humanity's awakened abilities merged with their hard-won wisdom of the present. They weren't simply reclaiming their ancestors' power. They were transcending it. The rifts in space-time began to respond to their efforts, slowly starting to heal. Admiral Chen watched as humans and aliens worked together, their combined technologies creating something entirely new. Our ancestors didn't just give us back our legacy, she said. They gave us the chance to do things right this time. The restoration protocol reached its crescendo. From Earth to the farthest waypoint, the network pulsed with unified purpose. The rifts in space-time began to seal, not through brute force as the ancients had attempted, but through a delicate balance of multiple species' understanding of the cosmos. In the aftermath, as the immediate crisis passed, humanity found itself in a unique position. They had regained their advanced capabilities, but tempered them with the wisdom of their long journey back from the beginning. The Zentari and other alien civilizations looked at Earth with new respect, recognizing not just humanity's power, but their commitment to wielding it responsibly. Dr. Paddle stood with Vera Sarn, watching as the facility's systems settled into a new equilibrium. What happens now? She asked. We've got all this knowledge, all this power. How do we make sure we use it right this time? The answer came from the facility itself, as one final message from their ancestors played. The true test was never about regaining power. It was about learning to share it. The universe doesn't belong to any one species. It belongs to all of us. That's the legacy we wanted you to discover. As ships from dozens of alien civilizations arrived in Earth's orbit, drawn by the activation of the Waypoint Network, humanity prepared to take its place in a new galactic community. They had been reborn not as conquerors or sole guardians, but as part of something greater. A coalition of species working together to protect and nurture the cosmic fabric that connected them all. The Renaissance had begun, not just for humanity, but for all intelligent life. And this time, they would write the future together.